What's up, MetaNerdz? This video is all about the Shield Gate seen over Scarif. Specifically, we're going to learn how it works, why the Empire employed it, and look at how it could be made even better, but also what you could do to infiltrate a planet like this, or even eliminate the best iteration of a possible Shield Gate. It's important to clear up some misconceptions here. The Planetary Shield was not housed in the Shield Gate. It is a device that acts as a communications relay between the world and the rest of the galaxy, which also houses 6 hangars of TIE fighters, and is ringed in at least 6 turbo lasers, and most importantly, is a device that is able to open a hole in a shield. I originally thought that the shield was destroyed when the Star Destroyers crashed into it, and Wikipedia even says that the shield is generated by the gate station, but the citation for this statement is just the movie and not some reference book. Other meta-nerds in the comments of other videos, and on some forums online, have pointed out that the shield is still up, and that the signal with the Death Star plan only makes it through, because this crash creates some ripples and perturbations in the shield that allowed for the signal to break through. If we look at the movie, here is what the shield looks like when the rebels arrive, and here is what it looks like after the gate is destroyed. Same blue layer floating over Scarif. This is definitely shield and not just its atmosphere. And of course, this does make more sense. The planetary shield was generated somewhere on world, making it much harder to blow up than just having your generator on the outside of your shield. The Death Star was able to fire through because, well, it's the Death Star. Now, the way that it opened in one specific spot is pretty genius in its simplicity. When you wanted to open a hole, these 2 retractable semicircular extensions would slowly pass through the shield. Because remember, slow-moving objects without repulsion or ionization tech could pass through shields, and when these 2 extensions break the bubble at the same time and in this shape, it guided the rest of the bubble around this area to create an opening. If you're thinking that this would mean the forces on the planet are now trapped, fear not, because now it can just operate like a normal planetary shield. Other places would just let their planetary shields down for a few seconds, allowing approved ships to pass through, and then just put it back up. This shield gate on Scarif just provides that extra bit of security, as you are essentially only taking the shield down in one spot, instead of allowing enemy forces to sneak in on the opposite side of the world. It also helped to keep this place a secret. You could place a bunch of ships around a planet, each constantly scanning, so that when you did lower your shields to allow your visitors to arrive at the North Pole, anybody trying to enter around the South Pole would be detected by your fleets. But this is way more resource intensive, and still not as secure as guarding a smaller hole in the shield, but it's also a terrible way to guard a secret facility. The Empire wanted Scarif to be on a need-to-know basis. You start covering it in dozens of starfighters to protect it, and you increase the likelihood of its location being leaked to the enemy. So now that we know how and why it was used, let's look at how it could be made to work even better. And I want us to think about it in terms of 2 equally powerful militaries, not the Empire versus some rebels, but the Empire versus another superpower. First off, and something we don't know if they already had or not, would be to have multiple shield gates stationed on world. These stations would need to have a sort of engine so that they could fly into place and open up new gates, so that you could allow planetary forces to fight off the enemy without having to lower the shield. The rebels had to use the hammerhead tactic that only worked because of the unfortunate positioning of Imperial Star Destroyers, but a proper military could just emerge from hyperspace with several of their own Star Destroyers and simply unload on this gate. This would put the planet in a similar situation to a city under siege, where an army knows it can't get past its defenses, but instead decides to just cut it off from the outside world, or in this case the rest of the galaxy. Even with those spare shield gates, you have to worry about the enemy seeing you moving that gate into position, and just focusing all their fire on that small opening. But you can imagine a scenario where the planetary forces knew exactly how long it took the shield to come down, and how long it takes the massive ion bolts like those seen used on Hoth to travel to the location of the enemy Star Destroyers, and you could calculate it so that these ships are hit just as the shield goes away. You might not disable all of them, but this forces the enemy to attack your fleeing ships, or ships that you are sending to confront the blockade, or try and bomb your planetary assets. I think the pressing matter of those first 2 will protect you planetside, at least long enough until you can get those shields back up. Now, I would imagine that the shield gate already had a sort of SOS system, in the rare event that this super secret facility was ever attacked. So instead of allowing your first gate already in position to be destroyed, why not just have an emergency button that shot up a Gungan-style shield where the generator is from within the bubble, and it completely covers the gate space station. You could have retractable hangar bay entrances that just go out a few feet to break the bubble in that spot, and your fighters can fly right out, or you just wait for backup to respond to your SOS. So that's the best ways I can think to make this even stronger. But if you are on the invading side, trying to breach a planet with a planetary shield generator, then there are some great options. If you want to go stealth, we've seen that you can just steal a ship, but you could also time a hyperspace jump through that opening and into the planet's atmosphere in a similar way to Han's entrance to Starkiller Base. But if you're going for that full offensive, and you're tired of trying to wait them out, you could just do the Star Wars equivalent of bringing a battering ram by just bringing your own shield gate to the party and move it into position to tear a hole in their defenses. Though it is large, and perhaps would have to be even larger to allow acclimator types of vessels for planetary invasions, it's not like Star Wars doesn't already have many ships the size of Manhattan. Perhaps a whole Siege-class ship would have multiple gates built into it on outriggers, so that it could rip open multiple spots for its allies to pour through. In closing, I wanted to pose a question to you guys. Do you think you could send a team of troops to just pass through this shield? If they went very slowly and work through like the B-1s did to the Gungan shields, then could you sort of sit a ship on the shield, turning off anything that creates repulsor fields so that you aren't repelled by the shield, and just allow it to slowly pass through the shield? That was something I kept thinking about while making this, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So that's it for the Scarif Shield Gate and other possible iterations, and some ideas on how to better use it and launch attacks on it. If you want to connect with us or help support this channel, be sure to check out the description down below. Special shout out to our supporters over on Patreon, and be sure to like and subscribe, or click on one of these boxes to see more videos like this. But most important of all, remember, you could solve all these problems by just having your shield gate on the inside. That way when it closes the hole, your station isn't stuck out in space with the enemy. And the Force will be with you, always.